As you all know, Ethiopia has a number of development partners who support it on its road to development, on its road to improving its business environment, and allowing it to tap into global supply chains, as we're talking today. So right here today, we have Ms. Cristina Gozálvez, who is an expert specialized in agricultural economy and social rural sociology, who are going to talk to us about how the donors are supporting and how they intend to support the Ethiopian government in improving the business for environment for investment.
It is a pleasure for me to be here today, and I believe this is an excellent opportunity to explain what are the European Union efforts to build up meaningful international cooperation on agricultural policy. And by doing so, I am replying to your question. So we believe that the development assistance we are providing to developing countries is not enough to make this significant transformation of African agriculture. So we need to engage with the private sector, and to do so, we are very much aware of the importance to provide the right policies, the right business environment. The European Union has done so already in our continent, and we are trying to build up this dialogue also at the global level. So the G7 and the G20 fora are picking up, they are taking up this dialogue as well in their context, and we are very much keen to see that in the recent agricultural ministerials at the G7 and the G20, there have been significant commitments in their declarations that want to focus on more cooperation on agricultural policy, moving from development cooperation to policy dialogue with developing countries in order to create this business environment, the right business environment. So the G7, just to make reference to a very particular commitment, the G7 this year has committed to improve its efforts to promote, to engage the private sector and promote greater investments in the agricultural sector in Africa. And they have proposed to organize a forum next year, precisely more or less with the same title as the forum today. So this initiative is very much in advance, and I thank for UNIDO support to organize this forum. I think that the format is very much what the G7 is planning to do as well next year. So I would like to make reference to how the European Union is in practice implementing this dialogue with Africa. First of all, we are implementing it at the national level with the implementation of our development assistance, the national indicative programs to implement our development assistance. And we are very much keen to see that in the current programming period, 2014-2020, most of the African countries have chosen agriculture as a focal sector to spend the money that the European Union is provided under our cooperation. So we are very much happy with, to see that agriculture, after so many years of underinvestment, is now being prioritized. And at regional level as well, we have a dialogue with regions in Africa. Particularly, I would like to make reference to the potential that the economic partnership agreements, which are now being ratified, and for example, the SADC-IPA that will come into force next 10th of October, provide a great framework for dialogue within the governments and administration, and also involving the private sector to unleash the potential of the development of the agricultural sector. The third level I would like to mention is the continental level. So the European Union is very much engaged with the African Union in bringing this cooperation on policy to the front of our agenda. We have recently organized the first African Union, European Union Agricultural Ministerial in July in Noordwijk in the Netherlands. And the main topic of discussion was to engage further with the private sector, and to do so, governments and public authorities recognize their role in providing the right policies to help the private sector invest further in agriculture. So I would like to give more details about the particular instrument my colleague Koen Doens has mentioned today, because I think it's going to be an instrument which very much will respond to the question you've made. He has told you that just 2 weeks ago, the European Commission has adopted a proposal for an external investment plan. This is a major initiative. We aim at mobilizing up to 44 billion euros, and it is particularly targeting Africa and our neighborhood countries. So there will be a specific instrument for Africa, and this plan has been designed with 3 pillars, which are very relevant to respond to the question. The first pillar is a financial instrument, providing blending capacity, but also a new instrument. It is a new guarantee that will be able to absorb direct losses, potential direct losses. This is a major change compared to the existing blending facilities that the European Union is already providing. The second pillar is the technical assistance. It's to help the private sector to present a bankable project. This is very important. We see that there is sometimes lack of capacity from the private sector to draft a project which is, has the quality, which is well enough prepared in order to be eligible for the assistance. So we are going to provide help to do so. And this maybe is an opportunity to respond to what Semedene has said, that he wanted to involve more with the local businesses. So this second pillar of the external investment plan will tackle that problem. The third pillar is going to be precisely what this session is about. We want to help improve the business environment. And when we implement these specific projects, when we provide this technical assistance, what we want to do is to engage with the countries in a dialogue in order to promote the reforms which are needed in order to improve the business environment. So this external investment plan is going to be critical to implement one commitment the European Union has recently, just 1 year ago, in the context of our migration agenda, which is one of our priorities, to tackle the roots of irregular migration. The European Union in Valletta, just in November last year, has committed to engage in mobilizing the private sector, more private sector investment in the African agribusiness and value chains. And we would like to see much European companies, agricultural and agri-food companies coming to Africa to invest, and this instrument will facilitate our work. So with this, I think I have provided a very large overview of what are our priorities. I think 2017 is going to be a very dynamic year because of the G7, G20 summits, and also I would like to already advance that under the Italian presidency, the G7 summit will focus, among other themes, on Africa and migration. I think it is an excellent opportunity to bring forward these ideas that we are sharing today. Many thanks for your attention.